going live. We're going live, right? Stream is good. Here we go. Hey, Tom here, FlipAnything USA. So on my channel, I share how I've made my fortune in real estate. And besides having, I got a book. You can see that book, Wake Up and Smell the Real Estate, as well as I have a mentorship. And today we have some of the people in the mentorship. And we have people joining. We have people joining the class as we go live here, so you're gonna hear some strange background stuff here and there. But so today, look, I want to just take any questions anybody has. It's not that I have an answer for absolutely everything, but I've been doing this for 40 years, so I've seen a hell of a lot of stuff, and it's been really rewarding sharing. Let's see, I'm trying to get this stuff figured out here. There we go. Shove that up somewhere. So we're gonna come back here. I'll take any question anybody has. Also, just so you can see, I'll share the screen. If you got any particular questions, I can take you to something I've bought, whatever, anywhere in the last 40 years. So whether it's apartments or whatever, lake lots, golf course lots, just about anything. We can jump around, and I'll try to do my best to give you any information I can possibly give you and share with you. So we'll be back in a minute. Hi, I'm Tom McKay. I've been investing in real estate, commercial properties, industrial properties, houses, apartments, offices, subdivisions. I also have a mentorship course to help people create their own fortune. All right. So, anyways, today we got this is actually my assistant Darius right here behind me, and then we got some new folks in the class here, or actually not in the class, but have jumped in the Zoom. Some are on the fence, considering joining. Others, just any questions you got. So, Dell, why don't we open up you first? We'll start with you, and we'll go from there.
You got to unmute himself, I think.
I'm sorry. I got to unmute you. Hang on, Dell. Sorry. Got to unmute you, buddy. Actually, I'm asking you to unmute. I think you have to unmute yourself there.
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Hear you good.
Okay. Well, I'm kind of new to this, Tom. I've been following you for a while. And right now, I upgraded all my house, the flip that I'm currently doing. I invested a lot of time, not that much money, about 10 or 15,000.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Right now, I'm in the process of selling. I'm actually sitting in the house right now. I did a full renovation. I followed your videos to the T. What I'm having issues right now is getting the money that I believe I deserve, for the property. A lot of these real estate agents that I'm partnering with, they're telling me that I'm too low, that I'm too optimistic on my sale price. And I don't want them to talk me down. They keep mentioning appraisals. The appraisal isn't going to come in. So,
don't listen to that. Here's the deal. As long as you did your homework, and I'm, in my book, like I tell you, you already know, you gotta raise your standards for making money. You want to make as much money as you can. A lot of people have way too low standards. They buy with a 20% margin, or they buy it 30. They say I'm buying it for 30% under market. All I have to do is put in $20,000. Well, then you didn't buy it 30% under market. You bought it 10% under market, depending on what you paid for it. So look, I'll give you an example. The last 3 houses that I've sold, I've told them that the buyers, this is, first of all, it's a cash market. So many people got cash right now. And right now, the values have gone up so much in such a short time that, they're far higher than they were 6 months ago and even a year ago. And that was kind of unexpected, but we didn't expect, a lot of the problems that we have. One of the reasons we're short on everything is because the government has screwed shit up so badly by being so generous with this stimulus. You got 44% of the businesses in this country can't fill employee positions because you get paid more to stay home or nearly as much for doing nothing. And so that is not something we ever figured on, is being the government being so damn generous that they actually kept people at home that could otherwise work. And it's a bitch. So regarding your deal, so what I don't know, so you bought a house, and when you listen, I have agents all the time, and I only use a handful. I mean, this is how I work. You bring me, it's in my book too, by the way. Somebody brings me a deal, I buy it, I reciprocate. I'll let them either resell that flip, or I'll let them resell something else that I'm turning, and that's how I reciprocate.
What's your average fee that you pay the agents?
A listing agent, listen, the agents are going to hate me for telling you this, but I don't care. 1.5%. I mean, if you've got and listen, let me put it this way: if you got a house that's $100,000, sure, no problem. And when I say 1.5%, it's 6% overall. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to make sure this is clear. I pay 1.5% to the listing agent. Okay, the standard is you're giving them 3%. But I insist that 3% go to the buyer's agent. So if there's somebody in the mix, listen, the buyer's agent is the most important. Okay, you'll hear these guys on the radio, and they're kind of clowns in general. And I don't mean to. I'm not bashing realtors in general, but when I hear a realtor say, "I work hard, I'm earning a job, I work for you, I've got the most fantastic marketing system in the world," blah blah blah. They don't do shit except put it on the they put it on the MLS because that's the Bible of it. That's the directory. That's the source of everybody to find it. So don't ever feel. So when I give an agent a 1.5%, or sometimes do 1.25%. Okay, so listen. If I'm giving an agent 1.5% on a $500,000 house, that's like getting 3% on a $250,000 house, which he will gladly do for 3%. The work is the same. There's nothing different. And right now they have to do nothing almost at all. All you have to do is show up, because they're biting at it. In fact, so back to your question, your point though, I don't want to miss this. So, and I have agents that are my friends. Some of them are listening to this probably right now. And here's the deal. I reciprocate. I give them a 1.5% listing, and I give it to somebody I know. It's always to somebody I know, unless it's somebody new that brought me a deal. I reciprocate, give them, I give them, I'm returning the favor. And so, but even like I got a buddy Keith that's probably watching. I got another buddy Murray that's probably, both are agents, and both have told me, you're way higher than everybody else. This doesn't comp. And I'm like, I don't care if it doesn't comp. I don't care if it doesn't comp. I know it's worth this. And like in some cases, some of these guys are, they're not this, my little area, the area that I'm working might not be their neighborhood. So what they don't know is they don't know the particulars of the area that I do. Like, this is an oversized lot. This has a view. You know what I mean? Some of these things, and they can't know, and I don't expect them to know, but they also know that I know. But they push back and, say, "Tom, everybody's saying this is too high." I said, well, I don't care. It's 430. They want me to go down to 390. This is like, I'm thinking about a year ago and something. And all of a sudden an offer comes in for 420, and I'm like, nope, 330, or 430, and boom, we get 430, everything closes. And I got another young guy I gave a listing to. It's actually my girlfriend's son, and he was saying, somebody offered me like 30,000 less, and actually, I was already 25 over. I was asking, this is a house I couldn't sell for 440 last year, sold it for 575, and they were trying to, I'm going to say, yeah, okay, great, 575, it's a deal, we'll work. And they come back and said, well, looks like it needs an air conditioner and it needs something else. They want to know, he says, they want you to take 10 grand off. And he said, it sounds very reasonable. And I go, really? It sounds very reasonable to you that I take $10,000 off the sale of my property? And I said, no, tell them that if they don't close at full price, that I'm going to sell it to somebody else. And here's another tactic, by the way. I said, I'm going to sell it for $600,000. And I don't care. I don't mind selling it to them for $575. But if they amend this or they play a game, just kill it. Just go ahead and tell them, cut it loose right now, and I'll sell it to them.
what they are mentioning, what they are bringing back is the appraisal. They're saying it's not going to appraise for that. And
no problem. No problem. And that's typical. The house I just sold for $575, I think it appraised at probably $475. Okay, $100,000 under market. So what that means is I tell my agent that whoever buys this has to sign an appraisal waiver. Okay.
And how common is that appraisal waiver?
It's every damn deal I do, every deal I've done for the last 5 deals. And you're going to.
For them to do that? It's not uncommon for them to sign a waiver?
Well, let me explain. I'm telling them they have to sign an appraisal waiver. And not only do they have to sign an appraisal waiver, they have to prove that they have the ability to buy it with an appraisal waiver. And so what that means to you, let's just say you have a property, the agents are telling you need to push it down, you're asking $400 and they think it's worth $300. And maybe if their brain is in 2020, they're right, but mine isn't. So you put it up, you got your $400,000 asking price, and you hold out, and then all of a sudden you get your full price, $400. Okay, they're going to buy it, and now, and typically people will use the appraisal to beat up the seller. Well, that shit doesn't work right now, okay? So they go to the appraisal comes in, and it comes in at $320,000, okay? And they've got let's just say they got an 80% loan. So they're going to get 80% loan. So they got a $240,000 loan roughly. They need to put $60,000 down to buy this thing if it was $300,000. And so what you're saying is, okay, your appraisal came in at $300. I get it. Do you have $160,000? Because the difference of your appraisal and what I'm selling this for is $100,000. So you need another $100,000 plus the $60,000 that you need to satisfy the bank that you're borrowing money from. So just stick to your guns on that. It ain't a big deal. And, it's not that you're 100% right. I don't know your capacity to judge value at this point, but it's going to be a great learning experience for you either way. But what I am glad to hear is that you've got a fixer-upper. Go ahead. And
when I come into contact with the agents, they normally say it's a 4% fee. That's what the selling agent says. So what exactly does that mean? Does that mean that 2% goes to the selling agent and 2% goes to the buying agent? Is that how they're doing it?
No. That's a good question. So the agent's saying, no, typical is 4%. Mm-hmm. Listen, whatever you want to make it is what it is. And an agent can say, I don't want to do that, and then you can let somebody else have it. It doesn't matter.
Does that sound fair though, Tom? 4% when they come to me, or should I?
No, listen. Most are going to ask you for 6%. I mean, the typical is 6%. But what I'm saying is, especially in this kind of market, let me put it this way. I've done deals where I made it 10%. I made it 4% over and above what I would need to do it. And the reason I did that, maybe I made it 12% once. I doubled it because I wanted my listing to be the most attractive one in the book. This is selling a piece of land, and I am making $500,000 on that piece of land. And but back to your question. So look, and I'm going to explain this to you and everybody. So this is how it works. When you give somebody a listing, they generally are going to, what's expected is a 6% listing. And you'll see that when they have you sign the listing agreement, it'll say 3% to the buyer's side and 3% to the seller's side, meaning the seller's agent and the buyer's agent. Guess what? You can adjust that any way you want. Mine read like this: 1.5% to the seller's agent, me, that would be my agent. 1.5% to the seller's agent. 3% to the buyer's agent. The buyer's agent is the most important. That's the person that's got the money that's going to bring it to the table. And now let me also qualify. So the reason I say that is I will give a 6% full listing on anything up to, say, maybe $300,000. Okay. But sometimes maybe not. It just depends on how I feel about it. If I feel like, just consider this: 6% on a $300,000, that's $18,000. That's a significant piece of your income, depending on what your margin is. So, so you can listen, if you give them 1.5%, the guy that lists it is going to make $4,500, and all he's doing is put it in the MLS, and maybe he has to make a flyer, or maybe, and here's like right now in this kind of rainy, crappy weather, by the way, and I urge everybody to do this. If you got carpet, what I do is I roll the carpet, I cover it with plastic. In other words, there's a sticky plastic. It's like, I don't know, what is it like? What do you wrap food with?
Like saran wrap?
Saran wrap. It's like saran wrap, but it sticks to the floor. Okay, but it doesn't work very well on tile and wood floor. So what you got to do there is they've got like a Kleenex box full of like footies, they plastic bags that slip over your feet, and it keeps the crap off the floor so they can walk through and not damage anything. But so anyways, just to be clear on that, go ahead.
Real quick, last question. I know I'm pushing you right here, but what would be the best day to list out of the week? Now that you mentioned rainy days and whatnot, what would be the best?
Don't open up. I mean, if you think you got to, listen. The best thing is, here's what I would tell you to do. They're starting to crack down on people in the MLS from doing what we call not pending, coming soon. I love coming soon. Okay. Yeah. But what you can do is you want to start getting the attractive. You don't want somebody that's about to sign with somebody else. And this is you can call it vicious or whatever. I don't think it's vicious. It's definitely, whatever. I'm trying to take interest from somebody else that might be on the, about to do something with somebody else. So you can put a coming soon out there, and that's like, whoa, wait a minute. Before we sign this deal, let's have a look at this. And then they'll call up, and your agent can say, listen, it's for sale. And maybe their agent, and I even, listen, you're doing your agent a favor if you allow them to do a coming soon, because it gives him the benefit of people driving through there, seeing the sign, and now he potentially is going to get 4.5%. He's going to get the other 3% on the other side. So anyways, so look, I want a lot of people jumping in here, but man, thanks for the question. And I already know you already got the book. I appreciate that. And you consider the mentorships close in July 5th. I don't even know if I'm going to do another one, to be honest. I did over 140 people in like the first 2 classes, and I've been very pleased. The results have been awesome. I got people who already made $1 million. One of them might be coming in here in a little while. And, you can go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. Let me jump over here real quick, just so you guys see. Here's my webpage, FlipAnything USA, and you just go in here and then click on the mentorship part, and it'll explain itself. It's $1,000, and no pressure if you're not ready. What the hell is this thing doing? Hang on. There's no pressure, but the main thing is, and I turn down people for mentorship. Maybe one of those people will call in today. I had a guy call me yesterday, and I'm like, "Fuck, you didn't." Excuse me. I said, "Why are you calling?" I said, "You didn't even read the damn book." I said, "What do you? Why even bothering?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I don't know." And it's like, don't waste my time. I won't take your $1,000. I don't want your money. I don't want anybody that isn't going to produce. It just makes me look bad. You're going to sign up and you're going to go, gee, I didn't make any money. And it's because you didn't do shit. You didn't read it. You didn't do your work. Because I know it works. I've been doing it for 40 years. And I got plenty of testimonials of people that have made the money and done it. So anyways, thanks, Dale. I got to cut you loose, and let's go to somebody else here. I'm going to go to Almas right here. Almas, you want to share or not?
Partially, yes.
Okay. Look, so I'm full disclosure here. Almas is in my class, and he's already made a hell of a deal. And you don't have to say where you're at. Don't give up anything, Almas. But you go ahead and say whatever you want to share, or maybe you can recommend the class or not. Actually, Almas told me he doesn't want anybody else in the class because he doesn't want anybody in his neighborhood to come to.
Are you kidding me? You have to cut him off.
Yeah, exactly.
What I want to say is, like, Tom's class is approachable for literally everyone. I'm an immigrant, broken English. Guys, I'm a mechanic. I just step off of the truck. I'm working on the truck. So just Tom text me whether he's going on the Zoom. I just came in. It's for everyone. The way he teaches how to approach, how to find deals, it's really... Everyone can do it. Yeah. Everyone.
It's true. Listen, I mean, thanks, Almas. I appreciate it. And Almas has already made a deal. He's already done a killer deal. He hasn't seen the profit side of it yet. He hasn't sold it yet, but it's in the works. And he's he's doing all the right things, and I appreciate you, almost. And he's what I call one of the diehards. So, listen, you're going to get about 20 hours worth of me teaching you when you sign up for this class in the 20 hours. And then I probably got another 100 hours after that of stuff that from just the Zooms that I do on Saturdays. And I'll go 5 hours sometimes in a Zoom talking to everybody, and I make sure I cover absolutely everybody, if it's the day that I'm going to do jiu-jitsu, I cut them off a little bit, but really things go long all the time. But
and then also the phone is true. I had some questions. We texted back and forth. We call each other. He gave me some advice. So it's the support is right there. Not somebody else, but he's gonna answer. He's gonna give you the support. So it's great. It's great.
Yeah, that's one thing you'll find out about me is I'm a super competitive guy, and it doesn't matter whether I'm getting a piece of your action or money or not. I don't like to lose. I don't want you to lose a deal. I take it personally if I'm helping you that it gets away from you. It hadn't happened yet, by the way. But anyways, and thanks, Almas. We got a lot of people jumping in here. I appreciate you, supporting as you are. And I'm going to go to Mazen because Mazen was in here early. Mm-hmm. And then I'll get to you guys soon. Dale already got you. Apenas, Rui? Yeah, is that close? Okay, I'll get to you next. Let's go, Mazen. Go ahead. And put your, if you can, I'm clicking your hand if that works. Wait a minute. Dale, are you, how'd this happen? Oh, here we go, Mazen. Mazen, go ahead.
So I'm 19. I'm pretty new to this. And wait, I can't really share my video right now, but.
That's okay.
Yeah. So I was wondering where the best place to start, and I've been doing my own research, and I was learning about wholesaling.
Okay, wait a minute. Do you have? Okay, that's okay. Do you have my book, by the way?
I do not.
Okay, I can tell already. Okay, it doesn't take one sentence to come out of somebody's mouth, and I already know they don't have my book. And listen. 19 is fine. That's when I started. I bought my first property when I was 19 years old. Somebody offered me $20,000 more for it than I paid, and if you read my book, you'd know that. Okay, not that it hurts, but. Listen, all this wholesale shit, and there's so much bullshit out there. I'm just telling you, go buy the Kindle. Go read the first 3 chapters of my book free. Okay, you go read it for free. Go to Amazon, Kindle, Audible. You can read the first part of it free, because otherwise you're just wasting a bunch of time. Time is money. Don't forget it. So just go get the book. But I'll answer a quick question. But I mean, it's very frustrating for me to answer a question. I can't write a chapter and a comment. And I appreciate you coming in class. But this is the information I'm telling you. You'll get the answers to that, and you'll save yourself maybe 1,000 hours. And I had a guy the other day, and he's joined the class. And it's a shame because it's a shame I didn't do this 10 years ago, because he bought the wrong property. He made a bad deal, and now his capital, and he trusted the wrong people, and he's got money tied up, and he also used some stupid guru stuff, and he tied up his seed capital, he tied up his savings, he tied up everything. And so he was really set back for 10 years, and now we sit there jaded and gun shy about doing anything. And that's what I want you guys to avoid. And just like you see in this room, almost 99% of my followers are men, and in the classroom too. And it's a shame. I've got to do an interview tomorrow with a gal that's already made money off the book. She made $40,000. I'm interviewing her tomorrow. I don't even have time to do interviews on my testimonials, and I already have more testimonials than Grant Cardone and Chris Crone put together. I haven't seen anybody of any significant testimonials from those guys. And people, gee, well, really, I thought they were the best. Shit, why? So anyways, all right, anyways, so that's I'm just going to tell you, get the book for now. We got a lot of people to cover here, but just listen in, and we'll keep rolling, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We got Kai next.
Okay, Kai, I got to jump to Apenas real quick first, and then I'll take you. Apenas, do you have a question? Oh. Yeah, you're on Apenas if you got something.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, and we can, if you're not ready, that's fine. I'll jump to somebody else.
Yes, I'm ready. I'm just here to do my testimonial from your book and from all the things I've done after I bought your book.
Oh, sure.
we've been scheduled this for a long time. It's Robert
Oh, this
from
is
Portugal.
Robert. This is
Yeah,
Robert.
yeah.
I murder this guy's name
Finally,
every
yeah.
time, but I didn't know that.
No problem.
So I saw Aponis, but yeah. So this is Robert, Roberto, and
Yeah, you can call me Robert. Yeah.
okay, Robert.
Yeah.
And you're in Portugal, right?
Yes, yes, I'm in Portugal.
Awesome.
You know already the deals I've made. I've made a pretty good amount of money for my standards, for my
Sure.
country, because it's lower. I'm just here to thank you because you've been a mentor for me, and I know for more people you have been, but personally I have to thank you because I've been making money since I bought your book, and no bullshit at all.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward, like the other guys already said. Sorry about my English because it's not
Your English is
my
great.
main language. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, believe me. Go to L.A. Here's better than half the population.
Yeah. And I'm on the verge of doing another deal, and I can say what it is. It's a building with two apartments, and I'm going to bought it for 45K. I'm going to spend there about 30K. So the total amount is 75K. Um, and in that area, the apartments are selling for 90. So at least 90 for each apartment I'm going to do. So I'm going to spend 75, and I'm going maybe do 180. And for my country,
Awesome.
that's like it's like maybe $3,000 or $4,000 in America, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty happy, and just that I just like to thank you for all. And it's great. It's great. It's easier to learn with your book for sure.
Yeah. And
So
what about the
I tell you
mentorship? Now
what,
you're in the mentorship too. How valuable do you consider that?
no, I'm not in the mentorship. Yes,
Oh, okay. I'm mixing you with Rui.
not.
Oh, you know what?
Yeah,
You know what it is?
yeah.
Rui, Robert is so active on the channel that he feels like he's in the mentorship to me. But
Yeah, I've seen
that's
all
what
of
it
your
is.
videos almost twice. I'm doing the second view of all your videos, and there's so much information. Uh, it's pretty good. It's amazing how you don't have a million followers, but in the other way, I think thank God you don't have, because it's pretty
Yeah.
good information, and I like we don't want to spread too thin, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I appreciate that.
But it's pretty amazing what you do.
Well,
It's
and so just
pretty.
so long, a lot of you don't know this. This book, okay, my book, I wrote that in 1992, okay? But I didn't share it until recently for the very reasons he's talking about. I said, shit, what am I going to do? Create competition? Of course, back then it would be doing seminars and stuff like that. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But I'm glad. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you coming out here, and you know, because sharing with other people, it helps, because people can't tell the shit from Shinola, guys. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate. And so I appreciate you sharing. I remember him very well. I'm starting to think he's in the, and you made $36,000 on your first deal, right? Yeah.
30 days. It's almost in Portugal. It's almost 4 years worth of salary. You know,
Wow.
just in 1 year. It's amazing. It's amazing. I bought another house with that money, and then goes the
That's
cycle.
right.
Bought it, invested, bought it again, tried to make a maximum profit on it, and I've been learning a lot with you, and by making it, you know, just not
By
for
doing.
reading
Listen,
to
that's
yeah,
yeah.
by doing, yes. It's a better way to do it. It's doing it. So, and read the book and buy the book. $10. It's a meal.
Yeah. I mean, it's a
And
joke.
it works.
I mean, it's
Yes. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
funny. So as almost describes that it takes work. It's some work, right? Some work, right? You got to do some work.
Yeah. You have to work. It's no. Even if I had 20 houses and I'm on my sixth house.
Wow.
Sixth house. It's work. It's work, but it's when
But
you
it's not
do
like working the
on
rest of
your
your
own,
life.
No. It's like I'm 41 years old, so and I have a job, and it's possible to do it all.
Yeah.
But it's work. It's not sitting behind the computer and waiting the money come in. No, it's not. You have to work. You have to listen. You have to do, and the results are amazing. Really, it's not bullshitting at all. It's very good. I'm amazing. That's why. That's the reasons. The only two guys I follow. It's you and Ben Mala. Ben Mala, it's of course more. I can find.
It's more entertaining. Listen, Ben's more entertaining.
It's more,
I know it.
You are specific. You tell the real thing, what to do, what not to do, and it's a little bit different. I've been following Meet Kevin too, but I realize he's just a very good YouTuber. Nice guy, very energetic.
Yeah.
But terrible investor, no profit on these deals.
Where'd you hear that?
I follow Grant Cardone. I think it's Grant Cardone. I've been following him too, but oh my
Sorry.
God, sell. No thanks.
Yeah. Well, if you saw the last video I did, or I don't know, probably 10 videos ago, if I'd have taken his advice, I would have probably lost $1.5 million on just the last few houses that I sold.
Sell houses. And,
Sell your house. Yeah.
Hey, sell now.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm so glad. You know what? I've been telling you we're going to do a darn video. Well, now you just gave me a testimonial, but we'll do another one. I'm starting to ramp those up. By the way,
a Cabernet. Yeah, I'm sending you a Cabernet. I will send you a Cabernet after I do this deal for sure. Okay.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll come see you. To be honest.
You're always welcome.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I love the wine. So.
Very good wine.
Very good, man. Awesome, man. Well,
Thank you
thanks.
very much, Tom.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Robert.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's get to Kai. Kai, go ahead, and I don't even. You guys tell me what's more pleasing: looking at a bunch of squares, or when somebody talks. I had to blow him up because he's testimonial. We're going to use the clip.
Hey Tom, can you hear me?
Yep. Hear you well.
Hey, big fan of your channel. I do have the book. You can see right here. I've read it twice already.
Awesome.
I'm pretty active on your YouTube too. You may know me as Elite Clinical Research.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. So here's my question.
Yep.
Yeah, Darius told me to come over on the Zoom, so here I am. Here's my question. So I'm following your strategy you have outlined in the book as far as.
Yeah, don't even give it up. Don't even give it up. But go ahead. We're not going to talk specifics on the book.
Okay.
People got to buy the book, otherwise they're never going to do anything. So go ahead.
All right. So you're right. It
skirt
works.
around skirt around the techniques a little bit, but go ahead.
Right. Okay. So your strategy you have outlined works, and I've been getting some responses back.
Mm-hmm.
So what my question is about the negotiation over the phone when people start calling you back.
Sure.
So I had one lady call back. She owned the property outright. So of course I was salivating, thinking about seller financing with that deal.
Yeah.
But it kind of broke down when I approached to, I guess, give her my numbers I was thinking about. She would not tell me what numbers would make her happy as far as the sale price.
Yeah.
So I kind of threw some numbers out there, and she liked where I was at, but she didn't really like the owner financing part.
Were you buying it? Were you getting a deal 35%, 40% under market or not?
Yeah.
Okay. So then you shouldn't worry about you shouldn't worry about owner financing. If you've already got it, getting it 35, 40% under market, you don't need owner financing. You just got to get the damn thing signed. You can call me up and I'll buy you out of it. Okay. So don't miss this opportunity, because if listen, owner financing's great. I got my first property owner financing. I've done many owner financing. I just signed a deal this morning, owner financing for $2.5 million, and I love it. I love it. And that one's got a short fuse. I got to pay it off in 3 years. 3.5% interest, about $5,200 a month on the remaining 1.8 million. I got on the remainder. I'm going to do a nice video on this, by the way. But so look, if somebody's willing to sell it to you for 35-40% under market, you don't need owner financing. Remember John Brooks. John Brooks, remember? You guys, if I've talked about John Brooks, he's one of my guys I used to work for. Unfortunately, he passed away. He's one of the coolest dudes I ever knew. And I called him. I had a deal like that. I got it signed, except my deal back then. This is back in like 1980 something. And it was the second industrial building that I bought, or commercial building actually. And I got it signed up. And it was under market. And I said, hey, John, I got this great deal. And I said, man, let's buy it. We'll split it. We'll make, $40,000 each or something like that. I don't remember exactly what I said, but it was a great deal. And he come out and he looked at it and he said, yeah, Tommy. He goes, this is a good deal. He goes, but I don't want a partner. And I'm like, what, huh? And he goes, how about I just give you $20,000 and I'll buy it without you? I said, well, wait a minute, that's a fantastic deal. And that's how I learned, like everything I know, I learned the hard way, by doing. And that's why you got to do. But the bottom line is, just get the thing signed. Tell her you'll give her cash in 60 days or, whatever. If she says 60 won't work, say 45. And get it signed. Do it right away. Do it right now. Hang up. Go get it done. Because if you're not going to get it otherwise, somebody's going to slip in and take it away from you. And listen, you're going to see. Believe me, if there was a great deal, and I would just say, I'm going to turn you over to Darius, and I'd leave. Okay, right now, because that's what most people aren't willing to do. Turn around in the rain. Go walk through mud to lift up a sign. Go walk through mud to read a sign that you can't see from the road. You follow me? These are the things that separate you from the unsuccessful, okay? And in fact, what's funny is even while Almas is talking about it being work a little while ago, I've got this, I've got this. Can you guys see that ghosted screen? Can you see it it's over Dell's face. It's anyhow, but you'll see the what happened was it started to dip. The viewership started to dip. Oh, wait a minute, it's work. Okay. And so, and it's such, but this is what's beautiful about it. I say the masses are the asses. It's in the book. I talk about it in there too. And bottom line is 20% back then, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. It's kind of universal. 20% of the people do make things happen. Now it's probably 10% of the people make things happen. It's really evolved into a lazy, horrible, stupid society. It's just pathetic. You get more paid to stay home. You get $600 to run a McDonald's counter right now, but it's not good enough because you can get paid $650 to stay home and do nothing, and that's how screwed up it is. But so look, go talk to that lady and go. Here's what you do. Here's me to the mistake you made right now. Get the deal signed right away to buy it. Okay, then talk about owner financing. You follow me? Get the deal, snag it, tie it up, get it. Then talk about owner financing. And then, just be, you can pester her now if you want because you got the deal signed. And now she'll say, no, I just can't do it. Now you know where you stand. Okay? Yeah.
I was too worried about the financing beforehand.
Don't worry about it.
I would have to worry about hard money or private money or something like that because I couldn't
Don't worry
buy
about
cash.
it. So. That's nothing. Don't even worry about it. Yeah. I mean, if you really have a good deal, you got nothing to worry about.
Okay.
So call her right away and say, listen, I'm going to buy it with my dad. And I'll fill in, for this deal if you need me to. But what I'm saying is just say, I'll go ahead and buy it. I like it. Just go ahead and say, and you got to remember, in negotiating, when you come back to her, you're already coming back a little bit weak because you kind of walked away wounded, right?
Yep. So
you got to go back to her and say, you know what, I can give you all cash, but would you take some off if I give you all cash? And I can pay you in 45 days. That's what I would do, the way I feel about it right now, just talking to you. And she might say, well, but see, now you're asking her for something. You're asking her to take it down a little bit. And that's good because it's going to make her feel better that she's getting what she wants, number one, which is not owner financing. And now you're going to say, yeah, I'd really like it if you could. And then, get a contract. Go meet her. Say, go meet her. Get this thing written. I don't care if you write it on a paper towel, and I've written plenty of deals on paper towels and napkins. Just write it out, what you agree to, or use the form that's in the book. Go get to her and just say, look, if I paid you all cash, would you take $2,000 off or $5,000, whatever? And if she says no, but I'll take $1,000 off, and she might say that, okay? She might take $5,000 off. You don't know, because now it's all cash. But the worst thing that's going to happen is she's going to say, no, I really need to get this full price. You go, okay. Now she feels better about the deal. She just out-negotiated you. She got full price. She feels good about it. But you're still buying it for 30, 40% under market. So hammer it, get it signed. And as soon as you get it signed, then if you want to reapproach her, just say, here's one of the best things you say. You say, look, what are you going to do with this money anyways? Yeah, you know what? We'll save that one for later. You can email me if you have any issues. I'll help you. I'll walk you through this deal, okay?
I want to piggyback.
Right. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
I want to piggyback real quick on to Kai on what you were saying, with just being fast and having speed. For me recently, I just had a property that I lost. It sold the day before I contacted the owner. Uh-huh. So I had saw it a week prior, and I had just been dragging my feet. You know what I mean? Just doing that whole analysis paralysis thing.
Oh, yeah.
Talked to Tom about it on Friday, contacted the owner on Saturday. It sold on Friday. But I saw it the Friday before.
Yeah. See, and this is common. This is why I'm telling you. Drop everything. Seriously. Drop out of this Zoom and call her right now if she's home. Don't let this thing get away from you. Just don't let it get away from you. And believe me, I just don't let a second go by. I just don't, because I know how. And listen, I've in my book, I think I talked about it. I certainly have some painful stories of losses, millions of dollars on some, by the way. But really one of the worst ones is a deal that was worth, probably lost $115,000. And this was just me going up, and I saw this guy sleeping. I'm about to go to the door, and I can see it, and I see him sleeping. I go, I'll just come back. Well, I didn't get back that day, and the next day I didn't get back, and then the day after I got back. And I said, hey, and he said, I sold it yesterday. And I'm like, God, I won't even tell you what I said. But anyways, you told me he'd been telling me he'd sell me this thing forever. But what's funny is I kind of deserve it. It's nice for me to get that because it's just painful, painful. I could have got him to sell probably any time in the last year or two. Okay. So but I can't tell you how many times I come up on a lot. And I'm looking around, I'm checking. I already own it, I'm really careful. I don't even like looking at a property. I don't like people in a neighborhood to see me looking at a property because people know, shit, there's that guy that's buying everything up. Why is he out here? So I'll just drive by and I cut my head down. I look at the property. I'll take it. I don't have to go inside. I don't even have to go inside. And so seriously, I bought homes without ever stepping inside until they closed. In fact, I've even been under such scrutiny in one neighborhood. I had one of my tenants. I said, look, I'll give you $1,000. I said, go sign this thing up. You can use my funds to show that you got proof of funds. And she got it under contract. And then just before closing, she assigned it to me, and I gave her $1,000, and I took it. And then the seller's like, rats, that McKay, whatever. But
in a mask,
because they're neighbors. Believe me, I have so much bullshit I've heard, and you'll hear a lot more detail to these kind of stories. If you ever get in my mentorship, you get me uncorked. Okay, it's just you're going to hear it all. It's really, really cool. I got to tell you, I love the mentorship. I love the people in the mentorship. In fact, I see other familiar names in here. Some I don't even want to say that are in the mentorship because they don't want to be known in the mentorship. But you're just going to learn a ton. You just can't fake this shit. And that's why I tell you, there's so many people that could never mentor you. Guys that claimed it, these guys sell you a stack of papers, and they don't know what the hell they're selling you. They don't know shit about it. They just say it works because somebody else wrote it that made it work for. And, it's just ridiculous. But there's so many different little nuances. Just like what I'm telling you right now, you couldn't gain from the book, right? But if you were in the mentorship, you get that on steroids and more. That will help you. And what's cool is like this gal that I'm going to interview tomorrow, she made $40,000 the other day. Or I don't know, a month ago or something, a little while ago. And she's first thing she's doing is she's taking $1,000 of the money she made and she's joining. She also knows that I may be done doing this. I might not do this anymore after, in a month. Like I say, mentorship sign up is closing. It's closing July 5th. I enjoy this, and I've made a lot of friends, and I enjoy helping everybody that's in the class and that sort of thing. And it really has been. Oh man, check this out.
Yeah.
Okay, look, guys, everybody just got trumped here. Okay. By somebody that just walked in the room. So, hey, Ron, I'm going to let you take, because I know you're busy. And so this is my first millionaire student. I texted him, told him we'd be in here. And so, Ron, if you can you start chatting and start the video, or and I'll let you tell a little bit about. Don't go into any detail. Don't say where you're at, Ron. I'm very cryptic. But this guy is an all-star. He's one of my most successful students.
Can you see me okay?
I don't see your... No, we don't. There's no image.
Okay, you're going to have to see this because you're not going to believe it.
Oh, shit.
Hold on, give me a second.
All right, now let's not give away any of the special techniques. But look, I'm rounding up people for the mentorship. I told them I'm probably not going to do this mentorship anymore after July 5th. So this is the last chance for a lot of people to get in. But go ahead, Ron.
Look at the views, baby. Look at the views.
Oh yeah. I got to give you the full screen.
Check it out.
Okay. Hang on. Bear with me 1 second.
Yeah, that's nice, Ron.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Speaker. Go ahead, Ron. You got to talk first to see it.
What do you want me to say?
No, you're good. Now we can see you. Now I've got a full image of you. It's by sound. So as you're talking, you fill the screen.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, so you can see the cabin in the background, and you can see the map.
Wow.
We're surrounded by 14ers, snow-capped mountains. Yeah, this place is gorgeous. I'm telling you, this place is gorgeous. So we just landed another piece of property. Tell me not to say where I'm at, but I'm in beautiful, beautiful area. And yeah,
so give us an idea, without giving it away, what'd you pay for that place, and what do you figure it's worth? This is when you got 6 houses on one property, right?
No. This is. I'm literally looking at the place right now. We just did a handshake deal on this. Please property right behind us.
Oh my God, this is another one.
Yeah, we are on location, man. We are right here, right now. So
wow.
The guy, this is probably one of the best. This guy wanted 7, we were 6, and I think it's gonna take about worth about 950.
No, you see, you got our audio faded a little bit, but it said it's worth about 950.
Way out here in the middle of nowhere.
Right, and what'd you pay for it?
About 950 complete.
Oh, okay, and what do you think it's worth?
650.
No, okay, wait a minute.
950.
Oh, I think 650 is what he paid.
Oh, you paid 650 and it's worth 950.
Doing the other way.
I gotcha. So look, Ron is now, I can't even keep track, because last time I saw him it was 22 properties, then it jumped to 27 properties, and we were doing the math in our Zoom meeting, and he had said, I said, well, John, I'm just going through the math. I said, you're a millionaire on this stuff now, right? And he goes, well, wait a minute. No, he goes, I got $1.6 million and 880,000 in equity. And he goes, oh, you're right. Wait a minute. I pulled out 270,000 cash. So it took him over the $1 million mark. And this is in a year. Okay. And listen, and Ron is a business. He's new to real estate, but he's a smart guy. And, so anyways, but tell us about, why don't you maybe could tell people what you think of the course and the book or whatever you want to do. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Here's what I recommend. To everybody. 1, if you haven't bought the book, buy the book. If you haven't done the audio, I do the audio as well, because what I do is I bought the book, I read the book, and I went, okay, I got this. But then you forget half the crap I read. So I'm listening to the audio as I'm driving around looking for real estate.
Oh.
And what I like about the audio is actually Tom is the one that reads the audio, and he goes off book quite a bit. So you kind of get a little bit more insight from the audio. So I appreciate you doing that, Tom. And then, so then I did that, and then I took the course because I'm a firm believer. Well, I'm a coach. I'm a business coach myself, and I'm a firm believer the fastest path to success is to find somebody that's already done it and run with them. The problem is there's too many people out there that pretend to have done it.
Yeah.
and you know as well as I do that's the tough part. And so once I realized that Tom was the real deal, I went ahead and I bought the course, and it pretty much just set me on track to run with it. And yes, I mean, I was in a different position than most people, but what a lot of people don't realize is, yeah, I made over $1 million in real estate in 1 year, and I have no cash invested.
Yeah.
None of my money is involved.
Wow.
Well, and you got some cash back.
I put money in on a couple of deals, but I instantly refinanced those and pulled my money back out. So I have all this real estate and I have all this income coming in, and none of it is got my original money tied up in any of it. So, and even this house right here that we're looking at right now, this one I can get it for $650, and the guy's willing to do an owner carry with $25,000 down.
Wow. Oh my God.
Jeez.
So it's not going to take me long to get this place up and done. Matter of fact, my guy started right now. That's what you hear in the background. I don't know if you can hear the construction in the background. The
Wow.
stall's going, but I got an Amish crew right here right now. They're in the middle of remodeling.
Wow. And how many acres did you say that was?
This is 35 acres.
Wow. 35 acres. That's like
35 mountain acres, man. This is pristine beauty right here, man. This is what Colorado is right here.
wow. And how many square feet of building? I see the beautiful home. Is there any other outbuildings or any other goodies like that?
Yeah, there's one little barn right here, and then on the bottom side of the other side of the house, on the other side there's a little garage. But not many outbuildings other than that. Most of it it's just fenced. I don't know if you can see this, kind of small on the screen, but it's fenced. And but what it is it was originally like a 550 acre ranch split up into 35 acre like subdivision.
Wow, that's beautiful. So
and you're allowed to hunt. You're allowed to hunt the property. You're allowed to hunt. There's a big area that's designated for all the residents. It's a gated community. So it's a pretty sweet deal.
Wow, that's awesome. Wow. And I don't want you to give it up right now, Ron, but Ron is, believe it or not, Ron has made even better deals than this deal. Okay. I think this is like 28 properties now, and this is not his best deal. But this is the, and I don't even want Ron to say, because I believe me, I think through the mind of everybody that I mentor, I don't want to give up where he's at. I don't want to say anything about where he's at. But everybody, you've got the ability to have that kind of niche yourself, no matter where you're at, no matter where you are, those opportunities.
Well, the one thing I would like to say is nobody said I could do it in the town that I live in, a 4,500 population town. The town that I live in has got 4,500 people in it. And the average income for the town inside the city limits is $36,000 a year. Wow. So if I can do it here, and came here with no contacts, I moved here, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know a soul here. So I have no inside connections. I didn't know anybody at the cities. I didn't know any realtors. I didn't know anything. So if I can do it in a town of 4,500 people, you can do it anywhere.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. In fact, you'll find that even in smaller communities, you have less competition. And anyways, you just be surprised how many multimillionaires there are in small communities where there's very little to no competition for these kinds of things. Yeah, anyways, Ron, I super appreciate you popping in here and sharing. And, look, Ron he's like a superstar within the group, but there's guys not that far behind him. And the difference is just work. I mean, this guy works. He's like me. He's a worker. And, but it's not, it's like, it's better than a lawyer gets paid. I mean, believe me, I'll tell you, this is a funny story real quick. So, you make money when you have a a team of lawyers working for you. And when they find out how much money you have or what you make, they go, wow.
Wow.
Okay. So.
Or ask you how you did it. I mean,
Yeah. Oh.
I had the bank invite me to a board meeting because they're like, how are you finding these deals? We're just very curious how you're putting these deals together, Ron. We've never seen anybody do that and be able to do this many deals in this short a time.
Yeah.
And they actually invited me to their board meeting
Yeah.
to tell the other board members what they're doing.
Yeah, so it's just an amazing, and I totally relate to what he's saying. A lot of you can't, but you will at some point, and you'll get box seats to beautiful football games, and and stuff like that from the bank. They start romancing you like that, and So, anyways, I'll just take a moment to tell you people. This is you're hearing from some of the people that are my students. We've got mixed people that own the book, people that don't have the book, also in here maybe, but most everybody here is either in the class or they've read the book and they're making money, and it's just a beautiful thing, and that's part of what I want my legacy to be, is just help as many guys like Ron just make a bunch of money before they pass it on to the next generation. Because right now if people are bragging that their kids don't have to bury them, like, wow, great, they don't have to spend money to bury you. Fantastic legacy. No thanks. But anyways, well, man, Ron, thanks a lot for sharing. I'm looking forward to catching up with you. And everybody that's in my group, you want to get on Telegram, and you guys will link up. And because it's been a wonderful way for me to communicate with my mentees. And Ron actually turned me on to that right away. I jumped in, and all of a sudden, bam, there's Ron. And so, right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Telegram. That's the way to do it, and you can be able to do quick, short video clips and show different real estate projects doing. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it's if I got my eyes on it, it's easier for me to help. Like I say, Ron he's already got it going big time, and that's the thing. That's what everybody should. It's just fantastic. Well, man, thanks, Ron. I really appreciate you sharing. And it's just an awesome story. It's just fantastic, and it's not one that's unique. It's just cool. Everybody can do the same thing. You just depends on how hard you work. Every community's got different opportunities of different types, but the opportunities are definitely everywhere. So. Well, and to tell you how fresh this deal is, Tom, I got to get going because he just signed a contract. I got to go write him a check.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, go do it. I'm already paranoid that he's watching this video.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I'm nervous too.
Yeah.
I got to close the deal. Tom.
Yeah, there you go, man. Right on. Thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it.
Take care, man.
All right, man.
Bye.
Take care. Thanks. All right.
So we got some pretty cool questions. Between YouTube and Zoom, people are asking different things. You want me to feed them to you?
Sure. If anybody's really pressing that's got something to share, I see a couple people that are in my class. I don't want to keep you in here any longer than you need to be if you don't. But if somebody that's in the class, just put a hand up that's in my class, and you'll take priority over everybody else if you want. Otherwise, just hang out, and we'll take questions from people that maybe aren't in the class. But so I just want to put that out there.
Okay. You want me to wait a minute then before?
Yeah. Who's got a question? We'll put them on.
Okay. So it looks like Arman Arbab asked a pretty interesting question. He just raised his hand. So.
Yep.
So man, you want me to read the question? Or you just gonna unmute him?
Okay. Go ahead.
Should I just ask?
Ask quickly. Yep.
Okay. If you're in the process of negotiating a purchase agreement for property that has an MLS listing, is it wise to wait until the purchase agreement is signed to try and source buyers so as to preclude the possibility of potential buyers going directly to the seller?
Well, yeah, you can't sell it unless you have a deal. I mean, you don't have anything unless you, yeah. So, yeah, listen, you get it signed because you have nothing until you have it signed. And even when you have it signed, it's still not 100%, but it's about 99. So, yep. And you got the book, right?
Yeah, I got the book. We actually emailed a couple times.
I recognize your name. It's one of those names that I'm not going to forget. I always think it's Armand Airbnb.
Close enough.
Yeah. But, yeah. Well, thanks, Armand. I appreciate you popping in.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. Let's go to, I don't have my glasses on here. I'm getting old. Oh, yeah. Fod, how you doing? This is another new person. How you doing, Fod? You just joined, right? I got to unmute, buddy. So,
yeah, we exchange emails back and forth. I'm a little cash poor right now, so I couldn't sign up for your class.
Gotcha.
I just put all my money in a deal.
Good. Well, I hope it's a good one. That's good. Yeah. Well, good. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're in here. Did you have a question?
Let me formulate.
Okay. We'll come back to you. Thanks, buddy. All right. Let's go. Let's see. Who? Okay, go ahead. Ask a question, Darius.
Okay.
Just run through them. We'll go through them quick.
Okay, cool. So I'm back on YouTube, so YouTube's going crazy. First question is always one that we get kind of common. Like, when is the crash happening?
Yeah. Listen, the crash can happen to anybody that makes a mistake, that buys it wrong. And so people destroy their credit in good times and bad times. So I don't worry about, I make money in good times and bad times. So listen, right now there's a big opportunity. Anybody that's has a property right now that they plan on selling in the next 5 years, I would tell you, sell it right now. The interest rates are historically low. You're paying less right now on you're paying less on $300,000 right now than I paid 30 some odd years ago on my first home that I lived in. It wasn't the first property I bought. It was the first home that was actually really good enough for me to live in that I liked. And that home was 9 1/8%. So I was paying 3 times the interest on $100,000 as you're paying on $100,000. So people think, oh, the good old days. Oh, it was so easy. Shit, it was not easy. I was paying 10% interest. It was tough. Okay, don't tell me it's easy. Okay, the difference is all about you. If you're willing to work and not, and willing to learn, and believe me, it's pathetic how many people are not. And that's why I have so few. Listen, I have very few followers, but I guarantee I got the smartest people following me. It's just, I mean, the ignorance and stupidity out there is pathetic. It's horrible. But the people that, like I say, I'm very, very, very happy with everybody that's, that's fallen. It's not, for me, it's not about, as many people as I can affect to make money, I'm happy. That's it. But I'm not going to waste time answering questions that are already answered in the book.
Gotcha.
It's just not worth it.
That makes sense.
Go ahead.
So
Let's go through.
Here's a question that may be in the book. What kind of cap rate do you look for?
Okay. So look, when we're talking about cap rate, don't confuse cap rate with for a house. To me, when you buy a house, you're buying a house to make a chunk of money on the purchase. You got to buy a house, you should make 35% your first year, okay? Mm-hmm. So you consider that your cap rate. You're going to make 35% on the total asset that you're buying because you're buying it under market. If you're buying it right, you're buying it under market. So if you're going to buy $300,000, you ought to make somewhere, you can vary, just say, 70 to $100,000. Okay. And people say, well, gee, how do you get such? Listen, it's out there. You got to look. It's not everywhere. Otherwise, everybody buy and resell, and it wouldn't be special anymore. But on cap rate in general, I just bought a building. I just bought a place, a commercial property. And this is actually the same story for every commercial property I've ever bought. I'm buying it under market. I bought one that had a 7.5 cap. That's really good. Mm-hmm. Well, let me tell you, it was a lot better than that. It was a 7.5 cap, but it was 30% vacant with a 7.5% cap. So I filled the other 30% up, and then that pushed it to more like an 11, okay? And I paid, maybe it was pushed to about a 10. I want to be careful with my numbers. I always try to under-promise and over-deliver. I never like to, exaggerate. I don't need to. If I ever exaggerate, it's on accident, okay? It's because I got too many deals. I'm mixing them up. But this one is for sure. In fact, this building you see behind me right here, I paid $240. I'll say $240. I think I paid $220. I paid $240,000 for that. I sold it for $1.7 million, a little over $1.7 million, about 3 months ago. Now I held it for a while, but that thing made a lot of money. But I sold it at a 6 cap, okay, because it made a 6%. Yeah, it made about I didn't make that much. Yeah, it made about $90,000 a year. That's why I got $1.7 million, and it needed a $200,000 roof. If you zoomed in on it, you'd see that roof is shit. In fact, you guys can see if you see the video where I talk about these bicycle toughs, it was kind of a joke. That's the one. They were riding their bicycles on this roof. Shit. Anyways, but it was kind of funny. But so what else you got for questions? Let's go.
So it says, hey, Tom, Chris here. What's your take on selling now to get a big return, $350K cash in pocket, or keep the property if it's cash flowing well, $2K per month? It's one of my short-term rentals.
Okay, well, so let's talk about that $2K per month. How much is it worth again?
He said he could get $350K cash in pocket if he sells, is how it reads.
Okay, so look. 350K. You're sure? 350K. Okay. So it's 6%. Well, wait a minute. It's worth 350. And it's cash to you. Do you have any other money, or do you owe anything on it?
This is C. Parker. I don't know if he's still in.
Oh, I know Chris.
Okay.
Yeah. Chris, one of my students too. Well, so look, on $350,000, houses begin. They don't return near as well as a commercial property, industrial property, a multifamily property. Now, if this was a duplex, or I don't even want to call it a duplex, a multifamily, to be honest, but say it's a fourplex or a bigger something, whatever. Mm-hmm. The bottom line is the beauty of multifamily and commercial and industrial property is that the values are based on the return, what they make. A home doesn't have any rules. It's I want to live near my mom, or my mom wants to live near me. So they overpay. Everybody's overpaying for property right now. So they can afford to overpay. They don't care what the cap rate is. So that's why the houses that I'm selling right now for $500,000 to $700,000 a piece, they only bring in about $2,500 a month. It's peanuts. It's horrible. It's like it gets down to like a 2% cap rate. But on your $350K, you see you're bringing in $2,000 a month. So that's $24,000 a year. Okay. That's a year. And now, what are the taxes on that $350,000? I'm going to guess they're about $10,000, right? Maybe $9,000? Knowing where you're at? What do you say, Chris? Even if it's 2.5%.
Yeah, I don't see him kind of responding, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, so let's just say it's 2%. That's going to be really conservative. I mean, not really conservative. It's going to be generous. But so out of that $24,000 a year, okay, there's probably $8,000 taxes on this $350K. Okay, so now we take minus $8,000. Okay, so now we're down to $16,000 and a year. But what about? Let me get rid of my logo. Hey, by the way, if you're watching this, please subscribe to my channel. You'll learn a hell of a lot, I promise you, and you'll learn a hell of a lot more if you get my book. And if you want to take it even further, get the mentorship. But I'm back to math here. So now we got $16,000. This was really cash flowing, $2,000 a month. Well, not to me, okay? Because now we're down to $16,000 a year, and we haven't even talked about insurance. The insurance taking away another $1,000. So now we're at $15K. And Chris has been doing great. Don't get me. I'm harsh on numbers in general, even on myself. But so now we got $15,000. So, what can you do with the money? I mean, is $15,000 a year? What are you going to do with that $15,000? I mean, if you've got, I don't know what his equity is on this $350, but if he's got $100,000, what are you going to do? You can take $100,000 and you can make a lot more money with it, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if he bought this I don't know what his equity is, but the bottom line is, let's just say he bought this house right, and he's made $100,000 on it. He used his money and he made $100,000. Well, you're not going to be able to do the same thing with just the 15. Proportionately, you could, but again, the cash is what, I mean, you can just, I mean, if I take $10,000 and I turn it into 20, why don't I want to take 100 and turn it into 200? So, yeah. So anyways, but when it comes to the commercial properties and stuff that I have, let's just back to my other story. And I know I jump around here too much. I pay $2 million for a property. Okay. And it's bringing in $180,000 a year income. Okay. It's worth a 6 cap on that money. So really it's worth $3 million. So now I got $1 million cash, or I got $180,000 a year coming in. Now, the difficult problem for me on this is, what am I going to do with that money? Okay, because I'm going to get taxed on it. I'm going to get taxed on it, which, by the way, I'm going to share something with you. If you guys ever done 1031, and I've done many of them, I just heard, and I haven't verified it yet, but I was told that the constraints of a 1031, you have to reinvest within 45 days. I've heard today, and I haven't verified it, that you get another extra 30 days. So now you have 75 days to find something new to reinvest in, which is almost twice as much time. It's important because a lot of people, they get a property sold, and then they're going, I can't find anything. They're frustrated, and then they don't. Or worse, they get themselves frustrated enough that they buy something that isn't a very good deal. And then they would have been better off just hanging on to what they had. And like this building that you see behind me in a little square here, let me show you guys something real quick here. So look, jump around. Okay, so look, I'm taking you into Google. Oh, no, I didn't. Let me see here. Oh, you guys see it on YouTube, right? Yeah. I can do it another way. Let me do it another way. Sorry, we're playing here, folks. I'm trying to nail this down. You're going to like this. You're going to like this. Okay. Jeez. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a little bit. So I could jump around so much here. There's just so many different. I could show you where I took 50 grand, turned it into a purchase of 320, turned it into 560, sold it, turned it into a purchase that turned into $5 million over a period. And now that $5 million is probably $7 million. And it jumps around with building to building. But I'll do a simple one for right now. And I got to do a share screen to do that. So okay, I'm going to do a share screen. And I'm going to go to... Trying to find... Yeah, hell. I have to save it for another day. Oh, here we go. Okay, so look, and I'm going into Google Earth here. I don't know why this screen is so big. Jeez. Maybe this ain't going to work. All right, I've got an oversized screen. I'm not going to be able to do it the way I want. We'll do it another time. But I'll just give you, it doesn't matter. Like you guys know, I hardly ever show you houses because a house is a house. That's what it is to me. Never be emotional about a house. Just a damn house. But, okay, so here's a building. Sold this for $1.8 million. And I just bought another building. Okay, so I took my proceeds out of this was like $1.4 million. And so I took that $1.4 million, and what I did was I bought another building for $2.8 million. And that building also has a 6% return on $3 million. So I've gone from $90,000 to $180,000 a year income from by taking that asset and buying another. And so let me see if I can show you. Okay, YouTube is seeing this, I guess, right? YouTube is seeing this. Okay, here we go. So you guys, yeah, okay. So look here. This is the building I just bought right here. I paid $2.8 million for this, and I get confused because I'm doing Zoom and I'm doing so I'm getting screwed up here a little bit. So, but I think everybody can see it otherwise. So now look at I bought this. This is a commercial building, and so now I'm getting the benefit of individual electric meters. The other one had a common meter. I've got less, actually they're both about the same this way. There's not a lot to take care of. And look at this, there's hardly any landscaping. I don't even know that I'm responsible for this. I think the city mows this damn thing. And so all I got to do is hire a guy to come down there and blow everything off. Pick up the trash once or twice a week, and then on the back side of this, the alley here, so it all has individual meters. These trees were overgrown. I probably spent $1,200 over that weekend. We trimmed all this stuff off, and we took care of the. I have a good video. I've got a video you can see called, I don't know, my new commercial property or something.
It's like my newest like acquisition or
3.5 million or something, whatever I figure that thing's worth. Anyways, but this is the kind of thing that I want to have a cap rate on. That this is where it gets tempting. This I'm going to get a 6 to 7% cap rate on. That's great, okay, and it's income I can live on. And but if it's a house, what's going to happen is even if it goes up in value, I'm not going to get the same cap rate. My cap rate is going to drop every year. Every time the value goes up, my cap rate drops because the rents with houses, they don't grow up pro rata. On commercial properties, the rents grow pro rata to the value because that's how the value is based on what they make. Houses, it doesn't work that way. So, and I'll just give you a quick example. You buy a home for $100,000 and you get $1,100 or $1,200 a month for it. Then you go to then you it goes up to $200,000, and now what do you get? You get maybe $1,800. So you see where I'm going with this? The economies of scale don't quite apply, and so you start getting less and less the more it's worth. So now I get $1,800 on $200. Now it goes up to being worth $300,000. Well, now I get $2,200. Then it goes up to $400,000. Now I get maybe $2,600. You follow me? And so your return on your investment goes down all the time. Not on your investment, but the return goes down on what the value of the asset is compared to the income that it creates. So at some point, and I usually draw the line around 350, to be honest. So that's why when he says 350, I think probably should sell it. But there may be special circumstances. But the bottom line is, I would take the cash out of the house, and I would go either find more houses to buy under market, or if I got enough, if I got 350, and I could maybe put it down, and I could buy a $1.2 million property that has $72,000 a year income coming in. I'd take that. See, so that's a good conversion of the asset here. So look at on this $350,000 example I gave you, and this is actually worth. Yeah, let me bring this back up because this is important for everybody to watch. And this is what happens. And this is why Ben Mala, like myself, he loves commercial property. He doesn't have as much industrial as I have, I don't think, maybe. But industrial, warehouse, all that stuff is great. I loved office too. I have some really nice office stuff too. But I'm a little bit afraid of office because I feel like office right now is threatened by houses. Because I got a daughter that just graduated school, and she went to the office for 2 months, and the illness hit, and then now she's taken over my bedroom for the last 18 months, and she's but back to this example, and if you guys are in my class, you guys already know what I'm going to tell you and show you, but I'll go ahead and do it here for those that aren't in the class. So let's go back to my iPad. Okay.
I don't think it's showing the iPad on the.
It's shown. The iPad is being shown on the YouTube channel,
gotcha,
folks.
gotcha.
Just so you see, you're not going to see this. It's just. If I tried, I'd probably kick everybody off the internet. So, anyways.
Gotcha.
Okay, so I'll just describe it more than anything. If you've got $350,000 in a house, and you're going to get whatever, you're going to get 6%. It's just, you're not even going to get 6%. In the example I just gave you, Chris is making about $16,000 a year, I think, right?
It's about $2,000 a month.
Yeah, so let's say $2,000 a month. Okay, but if I take this $350 and I leverage it into $1.4 million, okay, meaning, okay, so now I'm going to put 25% down on a property, and I'm going to get 6% on my 350. So 6% of 350, that's what is that? 18,000 plus another 3. That's 21,000. So I'm going to get 21,000 on my 1/4 down. That's my 350. Is this whatever? I should probably use 25% down. On my 350, I'll just do it this way. I'm going to get 3%, so that's 9 and 1.5. That's, I guess it's 10,500. I'm doing this in my head, and I should have it correct. But on the other, the borrowed money, the 3/4 of that, the other, would that be 7 and 350? That'd be $1,050,000. So on the other $1,050,000, the borrowed money of $1,050,000. Golly, I'm gonna mark this. Just say on the other. Let's see. Yeah, on the other $1,050,000. I am borrowing that money at, just say I'm borrowing at 3%, just for the sake of making numbers simple. I'm borrowing at 3%. So this money is costing me, $30,000 plus another, some change, just say $30K. I'm gonna borrow the money. The bank's gonna get $30K, but since I'm getting 6% of this, I'm bringing in a total of $60K. So half goes to the bank and half goes to me. So now this $350,000 that was bringing me in roughly, $15,000 or, net on a house, when it goes to an asset that I can borrow against, I'm going to get 60. I'm going to make 70. I'm going to make $70,000 a year on it, because you make money on the borrowed money. And I apologize. I'm having to use this pen like an orchestra guy, and so that's
like
why
a conductor.
Like a conductor.
Conducted
I can
deal.
barely write with a pencil, and writing like this is horrible. So it looks like hell. You're not missing anything. Not seeing my example here. Those of you on the Zoom, but anyway, so that's it. What else we got for questions here?
So
we'll
I see a
it.
good question here from John Beck. We got a few more questions coming in, but he
Sure.
asked, he says, "Hi, Tom. Yes, I have the book. I read you made a lot of money flipping properties. I would like to join the class. However, I have about 50 buildings, but I have never sold. I have original mortgages and have not pulled equity out of the properties. I have bought for cash flow. Does your class address cash flow buyers, or is it strictly buy and sell? Or am I going about this the wrong way? Thanks."
Okay, you have 50 buildings?
Yeah, he says his buildings are apartments and multifamilies.
Okay, well, I like that. Maybe you don't need to do anything. Just keep buying more. You sound like you might be doing fine without, any help at all. But if you've got 50 buildings or 50 units?
He says 50 buildings.
50 buildings. How many units is that?
John, if you're...
How many square feet is that?
Yeah, give us square footage and unit count too.
All I would say, John, is listen, if you own that outright, if you got 50 buildings with 20 units, and then you got a lot of got a lot of property there. You got 1,000 units. So I don't know. Just relative. I don't know if you got duplexes or whatever you got, but the bottom line is, what's your net? What is your cap rate on that? Do you know what your cap rate is? Because that's how I would measure that. I would measure it by cap rate.
Gotcha. Okay, we're waiting for him to.
That's when you say 50 buildings. And I know you're not trying to be vague, but the problem with that is, just not enough information. I need to know what what they're worth and what they're making and that sort of thing.
So
what else you got? Question wise, he'll get to it. Just go to somebody else.
So another question that I see is,
actually he wrote.
Yeah, he wrote 8.5% cap or better.
Well, then you're fine. Just sit on it. Why would you don't need to mess with 8.5%? If you own it outright, you might want to pull some equity out of it and and buy more. But yeah, that's pretty good. That's really good.
Yeah. So someone asks, do you have any experience in investing in properties subject to the existing mortgage?
Listen, everything I buy is subject to everything, but I probably don't mean it in the same way that you do. What is because people kind of murder the language of that I used to use.
It's a buzzword kind of right now.
Yeah, what does it mean?
It's pretty much acquiring a property with the mortgage still intact, and you're paying the property on behalf of the owner. But people fear, because they hear this kind of due on sale clause, because with a lot of mortgages, it is in the writing in the contract.
Yeah. So
that's
here's
what
the deal.
sounds like
It
different.
used to be when you get a mortgage, they didn't even put in the alienation clause that would cause the due on sale. So there was no due on sale on a lot of them. I bought an FHA property in the 80s, and I can't remember what I paid for it exactly, but I assumed a $28,000 mortgage, and I could, and I was only 20-something years old probably. And so that was great. I just assumed it. But you can't do it. So the very first property I bought there was 5 mortgages on that building the very first one I bought, there was 5 mortgages on it. And so you kind of call it a subject to, not exactly, but it really kind of was, in which they did what's called an AITD. That stands for All Inclusive Trust Deed, also known as a WRAP. That would be the more common wraparound mortgage.
Gotcha.
So what you're doing is you're taking 5 mortgages and you're wrapping it with one. Here's what can happen. When I went to refi this property, and because I made money on it, but after years later, I refied it, and I went through all the motions, and the title company contacted the 5 mortgagees, note holders, and paid them all off. And then 2 months later, I see my name's in the newspaper. Somebody comes and said, "Tom, why are you, everything okay?" I said, "Yeah, it's great." And he says, "Well, why are you in foreclosure?" I go, "I'm not in foreclosure." He goes, "Yes, you are." And I pick up the paper and I go, "Fuck, I'm in foreclosure." And what it was is of the 5 mortgages, they paid everybody but one. And what they did is they overpaid this guy. They gave this guy this guy's money.
Yeah.
This guy didn't get anything. And so this guy was foreclosing on me. And so I called this guy and I said, "Hey," I go, "You got overpaid." He said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you need to give that money back." And he goes, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that." And I go, and I'm just kind of like, huh, it's pretty still kind of green, like, "Well, really, you can do that?" And he says, "Yeah, I'm not going to give it back. I'm going to keep it." And so, so I called the title company, and I wrote him a letter, and I act like I CC'd it to my lawyer, even though I didn't. And I said, well, there was no CC, by the way, email. I let him know that I was contacting my lawyer. This is before the internet. And I just wrote a letter, and I, made it like he was also in the loop. And they sent somebody out that day and paid him off, because that's why you have title insurance. And that's why I always tell everybody, never buy anything without title insurance. You got to have it, because you don't know, listen, I know a guy that had a realtors. Yeah, I remember went to my sister worked for him for a little bit, and I went to a big lunch buffet or dinner buffet, and he was very proud. He had 20 agents, he was on top of the world as a broker. And, so I watched and, had the dinner that night. I was with my sister as her date, basically. And then about 4 months later, he was working at Costco. Okay. He was working at Costco. I go, "Man, what's up?" And what happened was, one of his agents took a listing for a lady to sell her property. This lady was in Hawaii, owned a huge chunk of land, went in through the whole deal, made the deal, and these guys spent about $150,000 making sure the property was, like they expected to develop it. And then when they go to close, they can't, because the lady that says she owns it, she doesn't own it. It was her sister's.
Wow.
She was trying to steal it from her sister and sell it. And they figured it out, and it just killed this guy. It just wiped him right off the map. Other things were going bad in general anyways, but that was the final, nail that killed him, killed his business. But, so I don't know if I answered the question.
No, I think you did a good job. I think, I would just kind of second to that. Just continue to educate yourself and don't get caught up in these buzzwords. I would kind of keep things a little simpler first before you start learning some of these advanced techniques, because you can definitely get yourself in some trouble, some legal trouble. And stuff like that,
and listen, what it is they give you such a creative way to make money that I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a pain in the ass. It's a lot of work for very little money, and it's certainly not what I would do or recommend. And like I say, and this stuff isn't new. There's this lease option thing, all this stuff. And I'm not saying it's bad. If you guys watch, you'll see where I made $1.5 million. Look, I actually paid me more than that, but I'm going to say it's $1.5 million, where I leased a building for $3,000 a month and re-rented it for $20,000, and then later $25,000 a month. And so, that can happen. That was an unusual set of circumstances, but it happens. And here's the deal. You're going to get these home run deals every once in a while. But the main thing is you're going to get steady good deals. As long as you work, make 10 grand, 20 grand, 30 grand, you know what I mean? And then, relative to what you do, it could be a lot. And, and then pretty soon it's bigger and better. And, but you're creating equity, you're creating annual income, and, the things that the problems you're going to have are going to be great. Like, oh man, if I sell this, I got to buy something else. Gee, what a dilemma. Or, or I have to, pay taxes on it. Oh, that's horrible. Well, no, you're making money. It's not horrible. But, and there's tools that let you defer. So that's cool too. Yeah. But so it's a wonderful thing. It really is a wonderful thing. So let's get some more questions out here.
Okay. So I see a question from Cyrus. It says, how do you find financing for the commercial or multifamily deals if it's your first deal?
It doesn't matter. I mean, if you got a good deal, number one, and you're gonna be expected to put 20 minimum. If you're new, you're probably gonna have to put 25% down at least. But the bank is because they're gonna look at you, but they're gonna look at the deal too, how it cash flows, make sure you can make your payments. And believe me, sometimes a bank tells you no. It's the best thing that could ever happen to you because they understand numbers, and they understand math, and they'll tell you no if you don't qualify. But so it's really get the good deal, go to the bank, and I mean, if the deal makes sense, they're going to give it to you. Now, if you have bad credit, but if you have reasonably good credit and you've taken care of yourself, I think you'll do fine. But then the next thing is shop banks. You got to shop banks and let them know you're shopping them against each other. So I'll just give you a quick example. The building that I just bought that I showed you earlier, that building, the first bank, and this is a banker that's followed me around, or I followed her around. First banker loaned me. She took over what was probably $3 million loan that I had from that bank, and then she went to another bank, and then she loaned me a couple million on some other buildings, and she went to another bank and loaned me a few million, and so we have a history. Mm-hmm. And when a banker moves to another bank, the reason they hire that new banker is because bring us some loans. That's where they make the money, and so I'm an asset to her. Yeah. Well, this last time she went to work for a bank that's pretty shitty, and they just weren't they're just too frugal. And so they were hitting me with half a point, which I didn't like paying. The interest rate I pushed back on, and I got it down, but I had to fight for it to get it down. And then because there was a dry cleaner, there'd been a dry cleaner in my building, they're like, we want you to get a phase 2 environmental. Well, that's like $20,000 or $14,000 to $20,000. I'm like, for what? Yeah. I know that was from 25 years ago. There was a dry cleaner in the building. So I went to another bank. In fact, what I did is I said, I want to know who financed this building for the last guy, the guy that I'm buying from. So I told the guy that I'm buying from, I said, hey, who financed this for you? And so he told me. And so I went to that bank, and I said, listen, this other bank, I didn't tell them to charge me half a point. I said, can you compete with this? And I told him what I wanted. Okay, what I wanted. And he said, yeah, we can do that. And I go, and what about this phase 2 environmental? You don't need that, or what do you think? He said, no, we don't need it. We didn't get it when the first gentleman bought it, and hadn't had a problem in 10, 15 years, however long he's owned it. He goes, so yeah, no, he goes, we'll finance it for you. And no half point and no necessity to get this $20,000 or $14,000 report. And figure a half a point on 1.8 million, that's $9,000. Yeah. So just by shopping, I save $24,000 minimum. So that's what you do, Cyrus. I think Cyrus is in my class too, by the way. Cyrus, is Cyrus from my class or not? Could be another Cyrus. I think it's Miley.
Okay. Miley Cyrus. She's about 10. So Dale asked a follow-up question on that. So he said, they asked, when shopping banks with commercial, is it a good idea to get with a mortgage broker, or would it be better if we do it on our own?
I don't understand.
Well, I guess kind of like with your story with the lady, is that like, did you make that connection yourself just by doing deals, or did you end up going through somebody to meet that lady that moved from bank to bank?
Oh, well, she was my banker. So here's the deal. You get to be a complicated portfolio because, like, if every one of these real estates, every one of these squares that we're looking at, and I do this in the classroom a lot, by the way, you see all these squares behind me, or that make up the Zoom class. Well, each of those is a property. It's going to be in a different entity. You know, I used to make the limit $1 million. Now it's like it's $2 to $7 million. So each entity that, like, one building could be worth $5 million. But I'll put it in a different, it just, that's the thing. What happens is your portfolio grows. Say you have an entity that owns, a limited partnership that owns this square, and it started at $1 million, and now it's $5 million. Well, you got to have a lot of insurance to protect yourself in general anyways as things go on. But you don't want to hold all of these properties. If all these squares are one big property, or 10 or 20 or 30 properties, you don't want to hold them in one entity. Because if one bad thing happens, it triggers a lawsuit. It could be, say somebody gets run over and it's your fault, or they made it your fault, or, there's other things that can happen. You want to keep it contained that you're only going to lose this little square that I'm sitting in. It's not going to affect all these other squares around me that I have control over that make money. Otherwise, they're all going to get infected, because this is, let's say, if I'm the square that's being sued, that's liable, that has a problem. It's like cancer. It's going to spread to all these other cubes that hold property. So it's very important you hold your properties individually, or hold them. It's not going to always happen individually. You're going to, you can own 20 properties in one, but at some point, you're going to decide where you're comfortable with. And me, I just assume keep everything under, $2 to $3 million per square. Let's just say for now. And then you want to get umbrellas. I'll just give you a quick story. A friend of mine, he got sued for $7 million, and he only had $5 million worth of coverage. Jeez. And so he was petrified that he was going to get screwed out of this other $2 million. And you think, well, if he didn't do anything wrong. Well, it doesn't always work that way with the jury. He had a young kid drown in the pool to the point of being brain dead. So this kid was going to need to be taken care of for life. Okay. Now this kid has been seen riding his tricycle or bicycle around at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night in the apartment complex. No supervision. Mm-hmm. Well, he ends up in the pool by himself. Nobody's around, and somebody saves him, but he's brain dead. And so you're going to get a very sympathetic jury to this kid's condition. And they're not going to worry about the money-grubbing landlord, that didn't have a lifeguard on duty 24 hours or whatever they're going to claim. So he was scared. And fortunately, the insurance company indemnified him. He had $3 million worth of coverage, plus he had $2 million in umbrella coverage. So he had $5 million, but they're asking $7 million. And so the insurance company doesn't want the person being sued that has the insurance to jump sides and say, here, it's my fault, take it all, because then you can kind of get yourself in a position where you say, yeah, I agree, you should take $5 million from me because I have $5 million worth of coverage. They don't want him to do that. So they indemnified him over and above the $5 million that he was being sued for. And guess what? Went to court. They took $7 million. And so, and he didn't have to pay for any of it because he was protected. But, again, this is why you want to have insurance, and you don't want to have, if let's say that his $7 million, I mean, actually that was one building. That was one building, right? And he had lots of other buildings, but they were in different entities. So even if they got a $7 million, they'd end up having a $2 million judgment against him personally. And they probably couldn't maybe bust these other entities, if he does everything right. Because these, this is the beauty of when you have a different entities, a limited partnership or an LLC, they have all the rights of a person. They are like an individual person, but they have to function like a person. You can't commingle. You can't do all these different things. You got to keep, you just got to really dot your I's. It's a good problem. It's something you'll have to study when you make more money and you have more assets. It's just something you got to be concerned with. Yeah. Because believe me, good people get sued. Good people get sued. Yeah. I got sued. Okay. I got sued, and it was a bitch, and it cost a lot of money. I spent $754,000, and I was a good guy, but I got my money back, by the way, because I prevailed. But I was the defendant. I mean, a couple other guys, but in the end, we prevailed, and as we should have, and we ended up liquidating, the other person that was coming, we liquidated that person's assets and paid ourselves back. So, let's jump to Eric here, since I hear Eric. Is that Eric in my class, by the way?
Hey, this is Eric.
Oh, yeah, I know that voice. Hey, Eric, can you want to open your screen, or can you? Is it convenient?
probably can't, but I can talk real quick. How you
Okay.
guys doing?
Very good. So I'll give you a quick introduction. Eric, young man, smart guy. He's not that young. He looks younger than he is, but he's still young. But he is another one of my students that just blows me away. And Eric, you just go ahead and speak for yourself. Don't give any specifics. Don't say where you're at. I don't want anybody to mess with your territory. But please share. Eric. I gotta ask him to unmute.
I think he is unmuted.
No. Eric, you there?
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. You want to share share your thoughts about the book, about what you got out of the book, the mentorship?
The book is awesome. I was following Tom for like 3 years before. 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yep, hear you great.
Following you guys for 3 years before sending you an email, and that was right before I had the land deal that came across me. I had an opportunity to buy it, but some of the specifics I did not know how to navigate. So I said, this is the perfect timing that you offered the mentorship. So that's why I sent you an email, and you began helping me out before I even signed up. But once I got signed up, it was like, it was even better because like now I have access to the group. I'm there, and we do these Zoom calls. That helps. And just listening into the questions that some of you guys got, like you speaking about 1031 exchanges. I was thinking about some questions as you're speaking.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep.
So yeah, the land deal was 40 acres, and I purchased it for about $140,000. I think that the market value is roughly $1 million. So about $800,000. I actually am getting with a realtor right now to sell it.
No shit. Excuse me, but I thought that thing was worth 450. Now it's now worth damn near $1 million.
Yeah, there was 40 acres about a couple miles away that sold for 1.2 million. The asking was 1.5. Now my land is a bit of there's a part of it that's in a flood zone, so that's going to affect the value. And I told the realtor I wanted to list it at 800. He agreed that that's a good asking. He said I'd probably be at 500 to 700 easy.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, an agent will tell you anything, but I'm sure it's worth at least that or close. And here's the other thing. We'll save it for the class. Let me just tell you, Eric is a rock star like Ron, and it was amazing. See, I'm very protective because once people started paying me to mentor them, I don't want to just give it all out because I feel like I'm diminishing their asset, which is knowledge. And I'm telling you, data and knowledge, and it's everything. It's so important. And people that don't identify knowledge as power are just ignorant, and that's most of the country. So, but Eric he'd made a deal. He did something that I have never done. And I'll tell you what, I'll just be, if you don't mind me sharing your terms, Eric.
That's fine.
Actually, so this is what happened. Eric's telling me about this deal. He's a little bit nervous at first. He's figuring it out. And I said, wow, I said, what, and he did the smart thing. And Kai, you need to pay attention to this. He got it tied up first. And so he got it tied up. And then I said, well, what kind of terms did you get? How much you got to put down? He goes, I don't have to put anything down. I go, what? Really? Zero down? I go, wow, man, that's fantastic. And he was nervous. He was nervous because this is the kind of nervous like Santa Claus is coming. And he wants to make sure he gets his gift under the tree. So I go, nah, you're kidding me. 0% interest. I never got a zero deal at 0% interest. And then I go, wow, that's awesome. No, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun here. I said, what'd you put down? He said, 0. I said, what is the interest rate? He goes, 0.
Jeez.
So he got $140,000 piece of land. That's what he's paying for it. He's figured it's worth about $450. Now it looks like it's worth even more. In every payment he makes, takes down the principal on top of it all. He doesn't even have any interest to pay. I've never had that before. And but that's not all. Eric, you bought a trailer park. You bought another house recently. And you probably bought something else because I haven't talked to you in a while.
Yeah, the trailer park. I bought that, and it's 28 pads, and 25 or 26 of them are all rented out. There's a lot of space. I rehab 3 mobile homes within the trailer park, and I got one rented out at $650 a month a day ago, and then I have another one that's going to be rented out this week. And I ultimately want to sell the park while I paid $80,000 for it.
Wow.
So I always buy under market, like you mentioned. You bought every commercial property you had. I try to just follow what's already working. I mean, what you teach, which is buy under market. You win when you buy or whatever.
Right. You make your money out the day you buy it. And then now you have a choice to be a speculator after that and maybe lose money or maybe make more. But the safest thing is you never get hurt taking a profit. And that's also from one of my mentors. And I never had anybody mentor me like I mentor you guys, but I had a guy that I respected, and he always said, "Hey, Tommy," and he called me Tommy too, by the way. He said, "You never get hurt taking a profit." And this guy, I hope he's still alive. He was a great guy, Hank Booker, and he owned $4 million worth of real estate in L.A. and maybe more than that too. But he owned that much. Well, when there was an earthquake, the chimneys would fall into the house and damage the house. Well, he was carrying notes, millions of dollars in notes on these houses, and now they weren't worth what was owed on the first. And so he had to just forfeit the second or take back the house, and he made those decisions that he made. But so you never know what this is the kind of stuff you're not going to hear about this from some bullshitter. You're only going to hear about these kind of stories from someone who's been doing it a long time. So, but anyhow, so yeah, Eric, so you got the house, and then what about the little house downtown? Did you ever figure out that it was potentially going to be a bed and breakfast?
Yeah, I passed on it because I didn't know it. I mean, it was just, I didn't know what I would do with my if I would have bought it.
It wasn't good enough.
I could have did Airbnb. Yeah, it wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
It needed too much work, and then I would have to Airbnb, and I didn't know that. I never done an Airbnb, and how to know if the market's good for that or not. It's kind of felt like speculating. So I say I'm gonna stick to putting the money towards rehabbing some mobile homes that's gonna have a return immediately. So that's what I did.
That's awesome. So anyways, so everybody watching, like I say, Eric, Ron, Almas, these are all guys that made deals already. And like I say, it's for me, it's just awesome to have people that actually, it proved it out that it can be taught. And so you guys that don't have confidence in yourself, believe me, nobody has complete confidence until they do it. And then what's cool is one of the things that happens next is you make a great deal, and then you're going to go, I'll never repeat that again. That's what you'll tell yourself. I'll never repeat that again. And then you'll repeat it again, and then you repeat it again. And then you'll be like me. You've repeated it again so many times that you don't even sweat it when you lose one. You just go, damn it. I darn it. But another one's going to come. So you don't worry about it. It's going to happen. But you don't be so lazy. Believe me, I fight for everything all the time. I'm always fighting. When I say fighting, I'm always working. When I pull up to a property, I had young children. I got my wife and pull up. She goes, "Why are we stopping here?" I go, "Oh, I just bought this." My wife was never concerned. I never told her about anything. To be honest, I was already almost a millionaire when I married her. So anyways, she's, "Oh yeah, okay. Well, I really want to go home and get these kids fed." And then I had a tradition with one of my daughters. My daughter's 27 now. I think she's probably 25. I can't remember at the moment. Anyways, but we had a tradition where I would take her every time I buy a property or a house or whatever. She'd come in, and I'd have to spin her around, hold her hands and spin her around every room in the building, our house. And pretty soon she's getting pretty big, and the buildings are getting bigger. I was like, okay, forget it. We're just gonna walk this one.
Breaking your hip.
Yeah, or you get dizzy. Jeez. But
that's funny.
But yeah, well, man, Eric, thanks a lot for popping in. And those of you who want to see, Eric's already given me a video testimony, and I'll share this real quick. If you're watching, please subscribe. Hit subscribe. Like somebody said, if you're interested in making money and you're not afraid to work, subscribe. If you're too lazy to do that shit, just leave, okay? Because I really am not interested in talking to people that aren't willing to put out the effort. That you got to be serious about making money. It's just going to pass you by. All the opportunities are going to leave you. It's going to be gone. But you can get into my mentorship. go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. There it is right there. And you can click on the mentorship. And let's see, I think it's here. Gosh, I can, where is it at? Anyways, so you can see how often I get in there. Anyways, you can get into the mentorship. Go to FlipAnythingUSA.com. And in there, you can sign up. July 5th is the ending date. I won't be doing it anymore after that. Or I may, but I'm cutting it off there for the summer. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm very pleased with the lives that have already affected and helped, the people that I've helped. But that's where we're at right now.
I'll also add to that, man. Because I'm looking at a lot of these questions that are coming in, and it's funny how like everybody's just like swarming the questions now. But you guys are asking like very kind of specific questions to deals that you guys might be working on, which is the point of like the mentorship.
No. Listen, I'm not afraid of it. I'll talk to anybody about their deals. No, okay. I want to help. Yeah. No. What I'm just saying, I don't want the people in the class asking specifics on the stuff they've done to make money necessarily. Gotcha. I don't mind sharing. I help people all the time. This is the problem. I help so many people for free that it got exhausting because I get an email. I go, I just answered that question, 6 times this week. And then I wonder, and then some people are so lazy, they watch one video and they ask a question that is even already answered in the same video. And you guys remember, I see the stats on these videos. I see that people only watch 40% of the videos sometimes. Other people watch it all the way through, or half the people watch it all the way through. And so, like I say, I'm more into quality than quantity. Yeah. And I urge you to feel the same. And anybody in my class that wants to talk, you just raise your hand and we'll jump in. And the questions that would be in the class should stay in the class. But let's get to some questions. Let's take care of people that are asking questions about deals.
Sure. So one question I saw was it says, "Hi Tom, I went to get a construction loan from a bank. Showed my income and was denied. I then had my mortgage broker show my income and now I am approved. However, the broker wants 1 point as a fee and the bank is charging me a point. How should I handle this? Essentially paying 2 points for this construction loan. The bank won't wrap the 1% to the broker in the construction loan."
How much money are we talking about?
Yeah. F. Malik, you're still in here.
It doesn't even matter. Listen, if you're talking about a construction loan, right? So you own the property outright. You own the land outright. You must, because they're not going to subordinate a construction loan to a property that has a balance on it, or they're going to give you enough to clear it. Listen, give them the 1%. I mean, if you're going to make some money on it, then do it, because it wouldn't happen without this guy. So give it to him. No big deal. Or tell him you let him sell the house, and then, or whatever. But I mean, listen, this is the thing. People want stuff for free. Forget it. You're not going to get it. Yeah. You got to earn it, and so look, the guy got you a loan, give him a 1%. No big deal. Next question.
So Marcus Marshmallows ask, I bought land on sorry, I'm thinking about the freaking pills.
Yeah, I hope that's not your email, because if you give that to the bank, they may kind of look at you strange. Yeah.
So it says, I bought land owner financed for $131K, 10-acre lot, 5 acres are usable. I put a water well on it for $7K. Clear some trees for $9K. I paid taxes, $500. Total spent $16.5K. What price should I sell for?
That's a dumb question. Okay. Let me just tell you, sell for as much as you can. Okay. I don't know what it's worth, but yeah. I mean, how could I know? I don't even know where your property is. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. There's not enough information. The bottom line, you should say the property is worth X. Can I get a little bit more if I own or finance it for somebody? If I carry, and believe me, I carry notes. I love it. I got a book way over there. Why don't you grab that book for a second? Don't forget to second shelf, that gray notebook, and it literally is. I call it a notebook. It is a notebook. It's millions of dollars in notes. Okay, yeah, that's it. And this thing's funny because so check this out. This thing's an antique. This is old. But I come across it the other day. This is a book full of notes secured by deed of trust. Okay, and these go back. This is I mean, I flipped a lot of different stuff, and I wish I could see better. But okay, this one's $19,700, and these are basically, and I've got some of the instructions from the escrow companies. A lot of these are California stuff. $9,000. So basically, other ones in here there's $20,000 carried note for $20,000, $28,000. This was a total sale of $60,000. I carried $22,000. This is one I carried a note for $16,500.
So that's you being the note carrier for people?
That's me buying a piece of property for $10,000, selling it for $26,000, getting $10,000, getting all my money back.
And carrying the note.
Okay, but technically, no. Yeah, maybe I paid cash, and then I got my cash back.
Gotcha.
Okay. Or I bought a property with $2,000 down, and I, I'm just throwing numbers out. These aren't exactly real, but they're close. I buy a property for $10,000. I put $2,000 down on it, and now I owe $8,000. Now I sell the property, and I get $10,000 down, and I let them assume the $8,000. So it's all cash to me. So I get my $2,000 plus $8,000. They assume the $8,000, and then I carry another note on top of it for $10,000 to $20,000. So they're paying me on a note that's in the form of a second trust deed, and they're paying the first, and I've already put cash in my pocket. Wow. Okay. And there's like all kinds of deals like that. But
and these are all land deals, or?
Yeah, these go back to like
1991, it looks like.
Between 1985 and 1981. Okay, that's what these are. That's 30 years ago. Jeez. But I'm trying to find a bigger one in here. Here's one, 29,000, 13,000, 7,000 something. I think this is when I made 30,000, but this is what I paid for, 5,000. 36,305. That's another note. And so all these notes, on average, if it's $10,000 note, I'm getting $100 a month for 5 or 10 years. If it's a $30,000 note, I'm getting $250 to $300 a month. So all this stuff adds up.
Wow.
And this one, this is a good one. Here's a good one. I remember this one. $295,000. Okay. I bought 70 acres for $140,000. I sold it for $510,000. And I even made more than that later on because I got $140,000 down because I sold it for $2,000 an acre. No, I take it back. I bought it for $2,000 an acre. I sold it for $7,000 an acre, right? Mm-hmm. 6 times 7. Yeah, right in there. Sold for $510,000. That is also the one. Because you guys were asking me earlier about what's a fair commission. I think I put a 12% commission on that property because I wanted it to sell. I wanted it to be the most attractive property to sell quickly. And guess what? The agents didn't even see that. And when I got my contract and when I got my offer, they'd only put themselves down for 3%. Mm-hmm. Half of the 6%, when it could have been half of. Or actually, it could have been all 12%. I can't remember how I did exactly, but I remember they left a lot of money on the table they didn't need to. Wow. But anyways, I think we've been on a long time.
We've been on for a minute.
Yeah.
Marcus Marshmallow circled back and said that the property's worth $200K.
I forgot what we were talking about.
So he said that he bought it. He owner financed it for $131K. He's all in at 16.5. It's worth $200K, and he's asking what price he should sell it for. It's in Northern California, too.
What city?
Marcus? And then another person asks a similar question.
Is it in Placer County? I'm actually looking in that area.
Somerset.
Oh, Somerset. That's the city, probably, I'm guessing. I don't know. Anyways, so what are the numbers again?
So
it's worth $200. He paid
near Placerville is what he said.
Oh, I love Placerville. Hangtown.
Placerville. Okay.
Yeah, I love Hangtown. I know Hangtown. So this is another story. I used to work in Coloma, California. Where they first discovered gold in California.
Oh wow.
But go ahead.
So he said he owner financed it for $131K. He's all in for $16.5K, and he says it's worth $200K. And he's just trying to figure out, I guess, a price to sell it for.
Oh, you sell it for as much as you can. I don't understand. You sell it for what it's worth. I can't tell you any beyond that. You sell for what it's worth. You don't sell it for less than it's worth. You can't sell it for more than it's worth. So you sell it for what it's worth. I mean, I don't know. Anyways.
I guess we'll take, how many more questions?
Just real fast. Let's
All right,
rapid
cool.
fire. We get out of here.
All
I'm
right,
sure
so-
people are getting tired. Anybody that's in my class, if you got something to say, man, just raise your hand and we'll just jump to you like that.
Okay.
And this has been really nice. All the people coming out.
Yeah, this is cool. So a similar question is Usman Tariq asks, well, he says he's doing a house flip. The price is $350K. The renovation is $150K.
Ugh, yeah, that must be a nice house.
And the ARV is $620K. And he's
Okay.
asking, is it a good investment?
Well, here's what I don't like. If you're going to spend $150,000 to
Renovate.
What'd you say it was $350?
Yes, he bought it for $350, renovated for $150K.
Okay,
ARV
it's
is
a terrible deal. I wouldn't touch that. I just wouldn't touch it. You're gonna buy a property for $350 that needs $150 to maybe, and I say maybe because it takes time to spend $150,000 on a house. It takes time. You're ripping out stuff. You're tearing out. You got and then you got the dumpsters out front, and then somebody calls the city on you, and then you get held up over some other bullshit. I mean, it's just not worth it. It's just not worth it. Yeah, I wouldn't buy it. Listen, here's what you do. What's it worth? What's it worth? Forget about all the remodel, because this is the question, folks. What's it worth?
Yeah.
So if I pay $350 for something, it's going to be worth $500. I'm just going to sell it for $500. Okay? It's going to be worth more than I pay for it. It doesn't make sense. Why do I want to buy a fixer-upper? I'll buy a fixer-upper, but I'm going to sell that fixer-upper as a fixer-upper. I mean, I've fixed up properties just for the sake of the channel, just to show people how to do it. But it just doesn't make any sense.
So you sell them as is. You'll buy a fixer-upper to sell
Well,
it as is.
it's the safest thing to do. If you're wealthy, you can do that. You can take chances and play that game. But if you're not wealthy, you need to have somebody else that can come buy it. Sometimes it's always easier to sell a property when it's bankable. If your property needs $150 because you're going to update it a lot. Okay, that's a lot of updating. Okay, $150,000. It can make sense. It can make sense, but it doesn't make sense to make. You're not going to spend $150 to make $120, and that's what you're talking about doing. So you're going to spend the money it takes to buy the place for $150. Then you can take another $150 out of your pocket to make $120. Doesn't make any sense. It's a terrible deal. Don't touch it. I wouldn't.
It sounds like he's in it. He's in.
Well, I'm sorry.
2 months of renovation.
Get out of it as quick as you can. Yeah. That's the renovations destroy people.
So here's an interesting question. What is the better credit to use, personal credit or business credit? And how often to avoid multiple inquiries?
It doesn't matter. The money.
Yeah.
Listen, as long as you're taking the money and you're putting it into something and getting it back out, you just get the cheapest money you can and make it work. Doesn't matter. And so, Kai, you got a question?
Yeah, Tom, real quick. So when you're buying property on the MLS, you typically put down due diligence, earnest money, that type of thing. When you're buying off market, do you do that also?
Yeah, same thing. Sure. Listen, you don't want to buy a property that you don't have a deposit on. You got to have some chattel there. You got to have. I mean, you got to have some money on it. I mean, to tie it up. That's what makes the contract, right? And I always listen. I'm the guy that puts a $30,000 deposit down when everybody else is putting $5,000 down, and it's my way of. And I do this to push everybody out of the way and bully. It's kind of a bully when I can be, when I got the money. I'm saying, here's $30,000 down because I'm the most serious. Okay, I'll close it in 30 days. Everybody else offering 60 days. That's something you can do. You can become kind of more of a bully-like. Not that I want to be a bully, but I'm just saying. I always test sincerity with the wallet. And if you try to wiggle in with zero down or put in any deposit down, if nothing else, then you're just not going to be taken very seriously. So yeah, throw some money at it and say, even if it's, listen, I remember when $500 was a stretch, and but I stretch. I put $500 down because I'm serious. No, I can't afford to buy the thing, but I've got 60 days or 30 days to go find somebody that'll either loan me the money or it'll be my partner on it. And some people say, well, gee, I don't want to pay 10% interest on a hard money loan. Well, your deal should be so good that 10% interest on what you borrow, that's nothing. Because if you get a partner, then you got to give them half your profit. And if you got to give up half your profit, that should be significantly more than paying 10% of borrowing money from somebody that, loans money. I love hard money. I mean, I borrowed lots of money when I was younger, and I even still, I tell you, this is what's cool. And I'm going to cut it here pretty quick here. But so I've been buying property for a long time. And I was in Starbucks. This is probably 2 years ago now, maybe 3 years ago. And I was borrowing $100,000 from a friend as a favor to the friend. I didn't need the money, but I could use it. I could throw it on something else. And I borrowed it because it gave him 5% interest. And he didn't have any place to put his money. I said, give me $100,000. I'll give you 5% on it. And so he gave me $100,000, but before he was going to. And I'm sitting in Starbucks, and I see one of my lawyers come in. I said, hey, John, do me a favor. I said, and he also knows the other guy. I said, I'm going to borrow $100,000, write a promissory note, 5%. And I said, it's for Rick. He said, okay. He goes, want to come get it at 11 o'clock? I said, yeah, that'd be great. So I was like, great. He's a good friend, too. And so he's sitting there a little while, and then he says, and I'm sitting at a table. He's sitting over at the counter. And he says, hey, Tom, he goes, hey, do you need some money? And I said, well, yeah, sure. And he goes, how much? And I said, well, and I was actually doing a bigger deal. I said, I'll take $700,000 if you got it. And he goes, well, I don't have quite that much. He goes, how about $500,000? I go, sure. He goes, okay. He goes, I'll have that ready at 11 too. Okay. And so this is me talking to you just like this. That's how fast everything happened. And I went in at 11 o'clock and took a check for $500,000 and took a check and had the paperwork to get the check for $100,000 from my buddy. That's when you're credible, when you have assets, when you've created a little empire or whatever you want to call it. That's the kind of thing you can do. And when you build a reputation of being a guy that does what he says he's going to do. When I go into escrow to buy something, I close it, and not every time, but almost every time. And those are the kind of things that build your credibility within the community and make you more respected and get you money. And that kind of money, you won't get turned down by the banks and everybody else. Or if they do, you don't care. You can get private money from other people too, because their money doesn't. People aren't comfortable investing, and they're really uncomfortable getting less than 1% from the bank. And so anyways, I just want to leave you with that. So look, if you just got here, hit subscribe to this channel. I promise you, you'll learn a lot from me. I do this stuff. I don't do it just for money. I do it just to help people. I help people all the time. People know this, that are here, that are watching, that have talked, if you watch this whole video. And, but real estate's a wonderful thing. I write checks for college. I write checks for cars, and I write checks for houses. And that's where you can be, but it just takes a little time. But time flies, by the way. Time goes. You'll see when you get older. It goes by really quick. I've been doing this 40 years. It's hard for me to believe, I can't believe my kids are 25 or 27, whatever they are. 35. Or 35. I know they're not 35, but anyway, so man, please, everybody, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we're going to do more of these. I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, this was fun.
I really enjoyed this, and but you guys, man, Robert, I really appreciate you sharing in Portugal. He's like I say, and everybody else that has shared their story, that have made money, using my book or my mentorship. And you guys that are sitting on the fence, look, if you ain't got the money, don't do it. Buy the book. The book's peanuts. But listen, if you can afford the mentorship, take the mentorship. But if you're not willing to study, because listen, I'm not going to put up with any stupid questions. You're going to have to read the book. You're going to have to listen to the classes. Like Ron said, he would just listen to them over and over, because you forget. My mind drifts all the time. I'm the guy that has to read a question 3 times before I write down the answer, because my mind is always somewhere else. So, but that's the kind of determination. You have to fill yourself with knowledge. You have to. But the good thing is that after enough repetition and getting it in your head, you're going to have the skills to make a bunch of money, and but anyhow, I really appreciate you guys. Kai, you're going to do great. And
call that lady.
What's that?
I was telling Kai to call that lady on that deal.
Oh, yeah. Well, hi, except you didn't take you should have been already off. Why are you still here? Did you get it signed while we were talking? I'm serious.
Not yet. I got 2 people to call actually right now.
Okay, well, listen, don't waste any time.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
get that thing signed. You're going to pay her cash. You give her, you're going to, do just what I told you to do. Say, hey, will you take a little bit less for cash? Okay, that way you're conceding that, yeah, I can do cash. I can do cash, but I want a little bit better deal. And then even if she says no, you say, well, okay. You know what I mean? And then she's going to feel like a winner. You know what I mean? And she's going to feel better about the deal. It's always good. You always want to make the person feel good about the deal that you're buying from, whether you're a seller or anything else. And believe me, I sell stuff a little under market and never, somebody said, Tom, do you ever feel bad about making money on property? I go, hell no, because I know what it's like to lose money on a property too. And if you speculate and hold, guess what? You buy something and then it goes down in value later on. The seller is not going to be, hey, I just called to make sure you're doing okay. No, they're going to go, God, glad I dodged that bullet. So these are the things that, and believe me, if you live long enough and you've been in this business long enough, that property values can go down. And, and I don't say that to scare you or dissuade you, because listen, you just have to be a good investor. And, I was talking about the kind of the virtues of stock as opposed to real estate investments. And, like I said, I speak off the cuff. I just talk from, I just spit out whatever comes out of my mouth from the experience that I've had. But I always thought it was really what I said the other day. I was talking about, look, how many million real estate millionaires do you know? Okay, I'm going to bet most of you know a bunch. You might even know some you don't even know they're millionaires. But how many stock millionaires do you know? It doesn't even compare. I don't even know anybody that's made $1 million in stock. And I'm not talking about YouTube people, because those people can represent themselves. But just by the fact that I know so many real estate millionaires and I know zero stock investor millionaires, tells me that alone is a very good indication of what is high risk and high loss and constant loss, as opposed to what is much easier to make money, something that is easier, more available. And so anyways, just consider that. So again, hey, thanks for watching. Get in the mentorship if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, don't do it. Just stick to the book, watch the videos. But the mentorship is a significant advantage, I promise you, because you have access to me, and I am the most competitive guy you'll ever meet. I don't like anybody missing a deal or losing a deal, but you got to get it on the line. And as long as you do that, I can't tell you what your property's worth. Jesus, I mean, you got to figure that out. But I can guide you. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Everybody, I really appreciate you participating in the Zoom, and we will do more of these in the future. And it's fun. We'll see you guys later. I'll leave you guys with this. Though most of you already know this. I won't even do it. I'm going to give you the short. And I'm going to give you the long break. I'm going to give you the long goodbye here with the message. So I'll see you guys later. And thanks for watching.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, I'm Tom McKay. I've been investing in real estate, commercial properties, industrial properties, houses. Okay, hey, you guys that are still on Zoom, we're running the credits.
I also have a mentorship course.
I don't think anybody can hear us while the credits are running right now. It's like my little push for the other stuff. But hey, almost, thanks again for coming in. And Cyrus, that's Cyrus, and also Olga. Actually, surprised to see you in here, Olga. I thought you were a little more shy or hiding, or cryptic like me.
Hi, Tom.
Yeah, hang on. I'm going to kill the show now. Hang on. You guys stay on. You guys stay on the Zoom.